Good morning, everyone. I'm the Chief AI Architect here at AugNex, and I want to be really clear from the start. We're not here today to talk about just another AI product. We're here to walk you through an architectural blueprint for a whole new capability, one that's designed to fundamentally change how cognitive work gets done inside your organization.
So here's how we're going to break this down. We're going to tell a story, really, in 6 parts. We'll kick things off by digging into the real problem enterprises like yours are facing with AI. Then we'll lay out our core idea for how to solve it, and I'll unpack the architecture that actually makes it all possible. From there, we'll talk about the non-negotiables, trust and control, that we've baked right into the system. You'll see it in action with a concrete example, and then, finally, we'll map out a clear path for how you can start this transformation.
Okay, so let's dive right in. Look, there's a common myth out there that enterprises have a data problem, but we think that's missing the point. You don't have a data problem, you have a cognition problem. And I'm willing to bet it shows up in 4 distinct ways across your business that are going to feel very, very familiar.
First up, there's what we call cognitive latency. Now, what does that actually mean? It's that painful gap between something happening in the market and your team being able to make a smart, fast decision about it. By the time everyone's gathered the right info and gotten on the same page, that window of opportunity, it's often slammed shut.
And what makes that latency even worse is cognitive overload. Your smartest people, the ones you hire to do high-value work, are spending their days playing digital archaeologist. They're digging through fragmented documents, sifting through spreadsheets, trying to piece together the puzzle from a dozen different systems just to figure out what's going on.
And of course, all that fragmentation leads to cognitive inconsistency. You know what this looks like. Finance is looking at one set of numbers, sales has another, and operations is working off a completely different version of the truth. When that happens, you're not just inefficient, you're introducing massive risk into the business.
And it all leads to this final, really damaging problem: institutional amnesia. Think about it. All that critical knowledge, the why behind a big decision, the lessons learned from a tough project, where does it live? It's not in your systems of record. It's trapped in people's inboxes, in their heads, and every single day, that irreplaceable knowledge walks right out the door.
So, if those are the problems, latency, overload, inconsistency, and amnesia, what's the answer? Well, facing these challenges head-on forces you to think completely differently, and that brings us to our core design thesis.
So the real question becomes, how do you actually build something that tackles these deep, systemic issues? How do you create a solution that cures the disease instead of just slapping another dashboard or chatbot on top of the symptoms?
And this right here, this is the most important takeaway from our time together today. The consumer-grade tools you see everywhere, they're great for simple questions. But your enterprise reality isn't simple. It's complex. It's high stakes. So to really solve for these deep-seated problems, you can't just sprinkle a chatbot on top. You have to engineer a system, a purpose-built, governed system designed for enterprise-level cognition.
Okay, so what does that system actually look like? Let's pull back the curtain and I'll introduce you to the AugNex cognitive architecture. It's built on 3 core, deeply interconnected components.
So at the heart of our architecture are 3 key pieces that work together. First, we have the Enterprise Cognitive Fabric, or ECF. Think of this as the governed institutional memory for your entire business. Then you have the AI coworkers. These aren't just generic bots. They're digital specialists built for specific roles to get real work done. And finally, the orchestration and generative UI layer. This is the engine that connects everything, manages the workflows, and gives your human teams the interface to collaborate and stay in control.
Let's double-click on the ECF, because this is the absolute foundation. This is our direct cure for that institutional amnesia we talked about. And let's be really clear, this is not another data lake. A data lake just stores raw data. The ECF stores knowledge. It's a trusted, completely auditable substrate that provides context with full provenance, so for every single recommendation, we know exactly where the information came from and why a decision was made. And building on top of that trusted fabric are the AI coworkers. Again, these are not the generic, unbounded agents you might read about. These are engineered digital specialists. They are bound to specific roles. Think a financial analyst or a supply chain planner. They operate strictly under your policies and are 100% accountable for the auditable work they produce.
Now this slide shows something that's critically important to how we build things: the separation of planes. We very deliberately engineer the system into 4 distinct layers. You've got the knowledge plane, which is the ECF, The control plane, which is like the security guard enforcing all your rules, the execution plane, which safely connects to your other systems, and the interaction plane, which makes sure a human is always in the driver's seat. Why do we do this? Because this separation is precisely what makes the entire system governable, scalable, and secure from the ground up.
And this architectural discipline, it's not just for us architects to geek out on. It's what allows us to make a set of non-negotiable promises to you. These are the commitments that are literally built into the code of our platform.
We know we have to earn your trust, and we do it through these 4 non-negotiable pillars. First, safety and controllability. No AI ever goes rogue. Every action is governed. Second, absolute traceability. You can audit every single output right back to its source data. Third, strict data governance. Your data is protected by design, not as an afterthought. And finally, operational excellence. We build this system to the same mission-critical standards as your most important enterprise applications. This slide really gets to the heart of our design philosophy. We believe it should be pretty easy for an AI to read information from across your enterprise to build a complete picture. But, and this is a big but, it must be incredibly difficult for it to write. That means changing a record, sending an email, or executing a transaction. Any write action has to go through multiple, strict gates for validation and human approval. It's a fundamental safety mechanism.
And how do we enforce that control? We do it by making your governance rules explicit, through what we call policy as code. Think about your most critical business rules, things like separation of duties, or who can approve what level of expenditure. Right now, those probably live in a PDF somewhere. We take those rules and translate them into code. That means they are automatically enforced by the control plane, 24/7 on every single action. It takes ambiguity out of the equation and guarantees compliance.
Okay, that's a lot of architecture and theory. Let's make this real. Let's see how this all comes to life with a concrete example, our digital CFO.
So the digital CFO, it's not another passive dashboard that just shows you charts. It's an active AI coworker. It has a clear mission, and it's measured by the same KPIs that your CFO cares about: speeding up financial decisions, tightening controls, cutting risk, and driving real improvements in metrics like DSO and forecast accuracy.
So let's walk through a scenario. An automated alert goes off. There's a potential risk of breaching a debt covenant. The digital CFO is instantly triggered. Now, it doesn't just ping a human and ask, "What should I do?" No. It immediately goes to the ECF and pulls the correct legal agreements and the latest financial data. Then it uses its tools to connect directly to your ERP to diagnose the root cause. Next, it drafts a formal, fully cited memo outlining the problem, the drivers, and a set of proposed mitigations. And then it stops. This is the critical gate. The entire analysis is packaged up and presented to the human CFO for an explicit review and final approval before a single action is taken. That is what governed, enterprise-grade cognition looks like in practice.
Now, we get it. Adopting a capability this powerful can feel like a huge undertaking. And that's exactly why we've designed a very pragmatic, phased journey to bring this architecture into your organization, making sure we deliver real value at every single step of the way.
We start this journey together with Phase 0, where we build your secure enterprise cognitive fabric and set up the foundational read-only connections. Then in Phase 1, we launch your very first AI coworker, but in a safe draft and assist mode where it's only making suggestions. Only after that's proven out do we move to Phase 2 and enable controlled write actions, always with a human in the loop. And finally, in Phase 3, we scale up to more complex workflows with multiple coworkers collaborating, all working from that same shared, trusted cognitive foundation.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. Right now, the market is absolutely flooded with conversational toys and chatbot demos. But the future of your business, your competitive advantage, it's not going to be won with toys. It will be built on engineered, systemic systems of cognition. So the only question left for you is, are you ready to move beyond the hype and begin the real work of engineering your enterprise digital workforce? Thank you very much.